Okay. All right. Hey, y'all. All right. Point of this video is to illustrate what can happen even when you're paying attention. Little small mistakes can happen. And it happened to me just a few minutes ago. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. You probably know that I've been doing some videos, making some videos about building this engine, putting this engine together. Now, if you notice the inside connecting rod right there, you see that little hole right there on the cap, on the edge of the cap where it meets the connecting rod. Okay, you'll notice over here on the outside where it faces the wall, the cylinder wall, that connecting rod doesn't have that. Well, that's because that hole's supposed to face inside here. Okay, what happens is pressurized oil comes out of there because you got pressurized oil comes through the crank, lubricates the rod bearings, and it squirts out to lubricate the bottom of the piston and the wrist bend and the bottom of the camshaft and the lifters. Now I knew this, and I even mentioned that in the video, in one of my videos. But what did I do? I put the cap on backwards. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. I put that particular cap right there on backwards. So that's what I'm saying. You know, when you're doing this, it takes time. You know, this is a point where you need to be strong. You need to have muscle, but you need to know how to use it. Okay, so you can go in there like like a muscle man and slam that thing together, but you better make sure that when you're slamming it together that you're putting everything together right, because even I screwed that up. Okay, and I've been doing this for 20 years, over 20 years. So mistakes can happen to everybody. So that's the point of this video. But I was able to remedy the problem. I caught it. I remedied the problem. I was putting the other connecting rod in. That was number 6 I got wrong. The piston and the rod I got in correctly. The cap, though, I put on backwards. Went right on. But then when I went to put the other rod on, number 5, guess what? That cap wouldn't go on, and that rod assembly, piston and rod assembly, would not go all the way down. So, let me illustrate here what I'm talking about. This is number 5, right here, and I pushed that down. It wouldn't go all the way down on the crank. I did all kinds of things to try to get that rod to go down all the way on there, but the rod and the cap would not go on. So, what did I have to do? Well, I started checking this thing because I pushed the piston and rod assembly back away from the crankshaft. So I started checking this, started taking the cap and I put it on the crankshaft. And I noticed I could only get it to go all the way down on the crankshaft when it was in line with this rod. So I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong here, because all the rest of these have went together like butter. And this one was just being a jerk. Well, it wasn't being a jerk. I made a mistake. So it's my fault. But that's the thing when you're doing this. You can't blame anybody else because you're the one doing it. So I can't blame, my neighbor across the road or one of my kids or something like that. I mean, it was me. It was my fault. My thing. I did. So, that's what I wanted to illustrate. Now, I know there's probably going to be a few people going to see this video and say, hey, you moron, you don't know what you're doing. Hey, you're stupid, Dad. You don't need to be doing that. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like this. If you work on enough stuff and you do enough stuff, guess what? You're going to make a mistake. Now, some people might say, hey, but if you make a mistake, man, somebody could get hurt. Somebody could die. Well, what if you leave a towel laying on the bathroom floor? Think about that. Somebody come in and trip over that towel. fall and hit their head on the toilet or the bathtub or the wall. Get hurt really bad, maybe even die. God forbid, but it could happen. So, maybe you step out of the shower and you're still wet. Water's dripping all over the floor. You're in a big hurry. You don't think about it. You run out of there, get dressed, go to work. Your girlfriend or your wife comes in, slips, falls on the floor. They may be laying there the rest of the day, So that's why I say, man, mistakes happen to everybody. So, you can be a hater, and some people are, and you can be like, I never make that kind of mistake. I never would do nothing like that. That's a rookie mistake. That's rookie shit. All that kind of stuff. Well, that's fine. Okay, you can be that way. But that's being a hater. Okay? Because I know I can make that mistake. I've made that mistake. A lot of other people have made that mistake. So, the thing of it is how you react to it. I didn't get angry. I didn't get mad. I was a little bit frustrated because I was like, what's going on here? Because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand what was happening. Then I got to investigating. I got to checking. I got to looking. And I thought, so, anyway. All right. I've gabbed here enough. So, when you make a mistake, just realize it can happen to any of us. Don't lose heart. Don't get disheartened. Don't get upset by any of this stuff, because it can happen to all of us. It happened to me. It's happened to friends of mine. Okay, I had a friend of mine put together a 390 Ford FE engine for his truck. Oh, it was cool. Sounded great. Sounded awesome. Headers, single 4-barrel Holley. Oh, it sounded just fantastic. Put him a nice Iscadarian cam in there, sitting there just thump, 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 thump. And then a little while later, a few days later, it was like, yeah. So, and this was, he's also a professional mechanic. He made his living being a mechanic too as well. So, it can happen to anybody. So, anyway. So I just want to share this all with you. Oh, and those little yellow marks, the main and rod caps here, that just indicates to me that I've went back and I've double checked everything. So, okay. So I don't have to think about this no more. Okay. But I'll share this here with you. This is so great. Look at that. It just turns so nicely. It's so beautiful. It's just glorious. Okay. It is just so wonderful. So nice. All right. I've gabbed long enough.